This is the Service Delivery Charter of the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management, KISM. KISM, promoting professionalism in supply chain management. 1. Who is Kenya Institute of Supplies Management, KISM? Kenya Institute of Supplies Management is a state corporation established under the Supplies Practitioners Management Act 2007 as the national professional body for procurement and supply chain management practitioners in Kenya. 2. What is the mission and vision of KISM? Vision: a model institute fostering competence and ethics in supply chain management. Mission: to empower supply chain professionals through registration, licensing, continuous development, discipline, and regulation for sustainable and ethical practice. Core values: integrity, professionalism, synergy, dynamism, excellence. 3. What is the mandate of KISM? The functions of KISM as outlined in the Supplies Practitioners Management Act are as follows. A. Establish, monitor, improve, and publish the standards of the supplies practitioners profession and safeguard the interests of all supplies practitioners. B. Make provision for the training and instruction of persons seeking registration under this Act. C. Recommend to the Minister for the time being responsible for education institutions to be approved for training of persons seeking registration under this Act. D. Advise the Examinations Board on matters relating to examination standards and policies. E. Have regard to the conduct of persons registered and licensed under this Act and take such disciplinary measures as may be necessary to maintain a proper standard of conduct among such persons. F. Perform such other functions as may be necessary for the proper administration of this Act. 4. What services does KISM offer? A. Registration of professionals. Section 16 of the Supplies Practitioners Management Act 2007 provides for registration and issuance of registration certificates to persons who have undergone a prescribed program of study and passed the appropriate examination. B. Licensing the profession. Section 20 of the Supplies Practitioners Management Act 2007 provides that a practicing license is issued to persons who have completed a recognized course of study, have passed the appropriate examination approved by the Institute, and satisfy terms and conditions as prescribed by the Institute. Consequently, all members are qualified to be issued with Supplies Practitioners License. C. Advocacy and profiling. KISM acts as an advocate on behalf of not only the profession but also the organizations it works with, promoting success stories and sharing good practice and business excellence. D. Capacity building and development. KISM conducts continuous professional development (CPD) programs to keep practitioners up to date with emerging issues and best practices in the profession. Members are required to attend CPD programs and renew their membership every year to remain in good standing. CPD events are available in the events portal events.kism.or.ke. E. Supply assurance and compliance. KISM supports organizations to eliminate fraud and corruption in the supply chain and embed ethical behavior to comply with PPADA 2015, provide reassurance and drive organizational value. F. Performance. KISM assists organizations to focus on procurement and supply functions, identifying areas of improvement, supporting planning, target setting and budget management prioritization, and increasing procurement's influence, reputation, and control overspent. G. Global standard. KISM certification, Certified Procurement and Supply Professional of Kenya, CPSPK, has international accreditation by IFPSM, the established global standard for procurement and supply body. 5. How can I become a member of KISM? For individuals who have completed a course or professional study in procurement and supply chain management from an accredited institution, A. Fill the member application on the member portal member.kism.or.ke. B. Attach copies of the following documentation to your application. 1. Certified copies of all academic certificates. 2. Certified copies of all professional certificates. 3. Copies of other qualification and testimonials. 4. Detailed curriculum vitae. 5. Copy of national identification card or passport. 6. What are the categories of memberships? A. Associate member. This category of membership is for those with experience in procurement and supply chain management but lack professional certifications. B. Full member. This category of membership may be awarded to any persons who have made a significant contribution to the cause of the institute or the profession. C. Corporate member. This class of membership is open to corporate bodies and other institutions that identify with KISM values and objectives for establishing professionally managed and ethical supply chains. 7. What are the benefits of KISM membership? A. Access to continuous professional development training at discounted rates. B. Assistance with recruitment processes. C. Access to the KISM Resource Center. D. Access to online resources, newsletters, magazines, and e-library. E. Access to networking forums. F. Professional representation on procurement matters. G. Advice for corporate members and subsidized in-house training. H. Representation and development of the profession in regulatory and statutory matters. I. Recognition by employers and the public through registration and licensing of practitioners. J. Participation and recognition during KISM Annual SPAS Awards. 8. Do you charge membership fee? Anyone who practices procurement and supply chain management in Kenya must be registered by KISM and pay annual subscription and practicing license fees. The requirements for associate membership are certified academic and professional examination certificates that must be stamped by a commissioner of oaths. National ID or passport or valid work permit for non-Kenyans, letter from employer or CV, a fee of Kenya shillings 4,500. The requirements for full membership are final certified copies of diplomas or degrees in procurement, supply chain and management, or logistics, passport size photograph, diploma or Certified Procurement and Supply Professional of Kenya, CPSPK, as a minimum qualification, copy of national ID, both sides, letter from employer or CV. The referees must be registered members of KISM, one being among those listed in served practitioner. list of personal contacts and address, a fee of Kenya shillings 4,500. 9. Do you provide for corporate membership? Yes, corporate membership fee is Kenya shillings 25,000. 10. Who qualifies for the practitioner's license? Section 20 of the Supplies Practitioners Management Act 2007 provides that a practicing license is issued to those persons who have completed an approved course of study, have passed the appropriate examination approved by the institute, and satisfy the terms and conditions as prescribed by the institute. Consequently, all members and fellows can qualify to be issued with Supplies Practitioner's license. 11. What categories of practitioner's license does KISM offer? A. Supplies practitioner's licenses individuals. Anyone who has been registered as a supplies practitioner whose name is on the register is taken to be acting as a supplies practitioner if he or she is employed in connection with the provision of any procurement and supplies management services by any person who is qualified to act as a supplies practitioner. A supplies practitioner's license will be issued to a person if the council is satisfied that the person holds a valid registration certificate, satisfies conditions for a member or fellow member of the institute, has a valid registration certificate for at least 3 years prior to making the application, has undertaken courses of instruction or examinations as may be prescribed, any other requirements prescribed by the institute, has paid the prescribed fee of Kenya shillings 6,000. B. Supplies practitioners licenses firms. Where the holder of a registration certificate intends to practice as a firm, whether as sole proprietor, partnership, or as a body corporate, he shall apply to the registration committee for a supplies practitioner's license. Only licensed members of KISM can apply for firm practitioner's license. Accreditation for new firms, training firms. Field application for accreditation form accompanied by a copy of the applicant's certificate of registration, a copy of applicant's license, evidence of registration as a trainer under the Industrial Training Act, a copy of the professional indemnity cover specified under paragraph 10D, a description of the topics to be offered, and the proposed mode of delivery of the content in the program. Annual accreditation fees, Kenya shillings 500,000. CPD access fees, Kenya shillings 500 per hour for each member of the institute. Timeline, the 30th day of July in every year. 12. How can a member renew their membership and practicing license? Membership renewal is done online through the member portal. A. Activate your member self-help portal using the link https://member.kism.or.ke/hash/login. B. Set your password if you haven't done so yet. C. Log in and check for the proforma invoice under subscriptions for membership renewal. D. Click on the proforma invoice or download or click Pay Now to follow the payment steps given. Payment process. To make payments to KISM, use the following process. eCitizen Paybill Number 222222. KISM Paybill Number 552500. Account number. Use proforma invoice number generated at the last section of completing your application. For clarification on the process, call us on 0111 024 800. KISM Tower, 12th floor along Gong Road, Nairobi. P.O. Box 30400-00100 Nairobi. Website www.kism.or.ke. Our service delivery charter. A. Common services. 1. Response to telephone calls, landline or any other official line. For this service, the customer is required to make a phone call. The service is free and the response time is within 15 seconds. 2. Response to inquiry by walk-in clients. For this service, the customer is required to walk in and make the inquiry. The service is free and the response time is within 1 minute, depending with the number of customers at the lobby. 3. Response to correspondences. For this service, the customer is required to send written correspondence, namely letters. The service is free and the response time is within 5 working days. For email and social media such as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, the service is free and the response time is within 1 working day. 4. Response to public complaints and grievances. For this service, the customer is required to make a complaint. The service is free and the response time is within 1 working day. 5. Resolution of complaints. For this service, the customer is required to make a verbal or written complaint. The service is free and the response time is within 14 working days. 6. Registration of suppliers. For this service, the customer is required to submit the following: duly filled application form, company profile, certificate of incorporation or registration, PIN certificate, valid tax compliance certificate or exemption, original bank statement, copy of certificate of registration with relevant regulatory bodies, non-refundable fees payment receipt, copy of annual return forms filled by company registration, national identity card or passport. This service is free and the response time is within 14 working days. 7. Processing of tenders. For this service, the customer is required to submit bids for goods and services. The service is free and the response time is within 90 working days. 8. Notification of successful and unsuccessful bidders. For this service, the customer is required to access e-procurement portal for notification. The service is free and the response time is within 1 working day. 9. LPO or Invoice Certificate of Payment for Goods and Services Received. For this service, the customer is required to ensure completion of services or receipt of goods. The service is free and the response time is within 60 days from the date of receipt of the invoice. 10. Disposal of obsolete stores. For this service, the customer is required to submit bids. The service is free and the response time is within 60 days from the date of advertisement. 11. Public participation policy making process. For this service, the customer is required to familiarize themselves with the issues and participate actively. The service is free and the response time is within 1 day per stakeholder group. 12. Recruitment of staff. For this service, the customer is required to make a formal application based on the advert. The service is free and the response time is within 90 days. 13. Processing of request for information. For this service, the customer is required to make a request for information. The service is free and the response time is within 21 days. B. Core services. 1. Processing of new license applications. For this service, the customer is required to submit the following: A. Filled application form. B. Certified copies of certificates. C. Copy of identity card. D. Current membership card. E. Passport size photo. F. Curriculum vitae. G. License application fee. The service costs Kenya shillings 6,000 and the response time is within 14 days. 2. Processing of new membership applications. For this service, the customer is required to submit the following: A. Filled application form. B. Certified copies of certificates. C. Copy of identity card, passport size photo, curriculum vitae of the applicant. D. Application fees. The service costs Kenya shillings 4,500 and the response time is within 14 days. 3. Renewal of membership applications and licenses. For this service, the customer is required to submit a renewal fee for membership for licenses. The service costs Kenya shillings 10,000 and the response time is within 14 days. 4. Communication on membership status. For this service, the customer is required to submit the following: A. Required documents for membership. B. License application. The service is free and the response time is within 5 days. 5. Development of annual CPD calendar. For this service, the customer is required to familiarize themselves with issues and participate actively. The service is free and the response time is within the month of October. 6. Marketing the training calendar. For this service, the customer is required to be active on the member portal. The service is free and the response time is within 2 months prior to each training. 7. Workshop attendance. For this service, the customer is required to do the following: A. Book for workshop online. B. Provide evidence of payment for workshop. C. Attend workshop in person. The cost of the service is as per cost indicated on the training calendar and the response time is by the first day of the workshop. 8. Issuance of workshop certificates. For this service, the customer is required to: A. Make payment for workshop. B. Attend workshop. The service is free and the response time is by the last day of the workshop. 9. Circulation of workshop presentations. For this service, the customer is required to: A. Make payment for workshop. B. Attend workshop. The service is free and the response time is by the second working day after the workshop. 10. Accreditation for new firms training firms. For this service, the customer is required to submit a field application for the accreditation form accompanied by: A. A copy of the applicant's certificate of registration. B. A copy of applicant's license. C. Evidence of registration as a trainer under the Industrial Training Act. D. A copy of the professional indemnity cover specified under paragraph 10D. E. A description of the topics to be offered. And F. The proposed mode of delivery of the content in the program. The cost of the service is as follows. Annual accreditation fees, Kenya shillings 500,000. CPD access fees, Kenya shillings 500 per hour for each member of the institute. The response time is by 30th July of every year. 11. Letters of good standing. For this service, the customer is required to send a request to the institute through a filled-out request form. The service is free and the letters are issued within 2 working days. We are committed to courtesy and excellence in service delivery. Any service that does not conform to the above standards or any officer who does not live up to the commitment to courtesy and excellence in the service delivery should be reported to Chief Executive Officer, Kenya Institute of Supplies Management, KISM Towers, 12th floor, Ngong Lane, Ngong Road, P.O. Box 30400-00100 Nairobi. Telephone +254 111 024 800. Website www.kism.or.ke. Email complaints@kism.or.ke. The Commission Secretary or Chief Executive Officer, Commission for Administrative Justice, 2nd floor, West End Towers, opposite Aga Khan High School or Waiyaki Way, Westlands. P.O. Box 20414-00200 Nairobi. Telephone +254 2022 70000 or 230 3000 or 2603765 or 2409574 or 0777125818 or 0800221349. Toll free. Email info@ombudsman.go.ke. KISM, your trusted source of supply chain information.